Alrighty, so hey there guys, Epix here, and today, as I adjust my mic volume, I'm going to give you all a tutorial on how to play Magic the Gathering. Because as you guys know of, Magic is, well, as you guys probably don't know of, Magic is one of my favorite games to actually play, and well, all of this stuff, when you look at the data on this video, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm just not going to make YouTube angry at me. You know, everything that's been happening in the world, I get on Skype. That was my desk. I get on Skype calls with friends and basically, yeah, just play Magic. So what you're going to want, first off, to play Magic is either, what I would recommend for beginners is a monocolored deck, which is basically one color. So I'm actually not going to use a three-color deck. I'm going to use one. If I have a one-color deck, I keep one around here normally. Is it you? Alright. My bad, phone went off right there. There it is. So the decks that I mainly use are Commander. Commander is a setup somewhat similar. Well, Commander is basically you have a deck of a total of 100 cards, one of them being, has to be, a legendary, which you guys can't see because of bad lighting. That's not any better lighting. Yay. Somewhat decent lighting. And basically, when you have a commander deck, you have your commander, which in this case is green. This deck is only forest or green mana. And basically a commander deck is made of 99 cards and one commander. All of your deck must be different. No two cards can be the same. There's a better way to put it. And when you start, you always want to have 7 cards. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to lay out what my hand would be. Now there's a problem here. Every card, nearly every, some don't, requires mana. So if you don't have at least 3 lands in your hand, shuffle your hand into your deck, shuffle your deck, and draw cards. This is called a mulligan. After your first mulligan, well, when you do your first mulligan, you only get to draw 6 cards instead of 7. So that way you can't just look through your deck for a great hand. And in this case, I'm actually getting screwed over because I'm not getting any lands. I have lands in here, right? Yeah, I have plenty of them. So now this would be my second mulligan, and there are 6 different colors. You have red, blue, green, black, white. I'm forgetting one. Red, blue, green, black, white. Red, blue, green, black. Oh no, it's 5 colors, my bad. I swear to God, I thought it was 6. Alright. So this is what you would have. Per turn, unless a card otherwise says so, you can only play one land. And now there are multiple types of lands. There's basic lands, two-color lands, and tricolor lands. But since this is a green-only deck, I'm probably, as far as I remember for this, only using green cards. So if I want to play something, I would play, and he's not in play currently. When you play Commander, there's Command Zone. You cast your commander out of Command Zone, and every time your commander gets killed, then he, every time your commander gets killed, I'm sorry people, I'm just trying to figure out if I can get my camera to look correct. Alright. So basically you would say, if you were starting, you would play a forest, and if you had a card that costs 1, then you would play it. But if you can't, you say pass turn and it goes to the next person. So these are something that's required for competitive play. I only have 2 of them, so I only have enough for mine. These are 20-side dies made specifically by Wizards of the Coast, which makes Magic. And basically, they're 20 to 1. This is from the Throne of Eldraine Gift Edition set. This is from Ikoria Layer of Behemoths set. And these would equal a total of 40 life. Standard play is you don't have a commander, but you have a deck of 60 cards, normally 20 lands. Commander is about 33 lands. And basically what you have is you have 40 life in Commander, but you only have 20 in Standard. And in Standard you can have up to 4 of the same kind of card. So then you would pass turn, you would then, when somebody else has their turn end, they would say pass turn if it's 2-player, however many players you have. Once it's back to you, you would draw a card. In this case I drew a forest. You would play a forest and pass turn. Wait again. Draw a card. You would play a forest. And now there's 2 things that I would be able to do with this hand. That's just there for now. You can either play your commander. There we are. Can play your commander. Or I could play this Hengewalker. Now, each of these have their own little gimmicks. It all depends on what you do. So in this case, if I wanted to, I would tap, you would say, I tap 3, and if it required certain amounts of mana, you would say, I tap 3 forests, or I tap 3 green. And then you would go ahead and you would play. Now personally, for me, if I was playing against someone right now, I would play my commander. However, because he has a lot to say on him, I don't feel like doing that right now. I'm going to play this Hengewalker. Now this is my hand, this is the battlefield. Which, Hengewalker is an artifact creature golem. Certain things can happen based on what a certain thing is. This has the ability Adamant. If at least 3 mana of the same color was spent to cast this spell, Hengewalker enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So this goes to +1. This gets a +1/+1. And it has 2/2 normally. It's now a 3/3. What a 3/3 is it has 3 power, 3 toughness. So it can take 3 damage from any other card. It will take 3 damage, and it will hit for 3 damage. So if I wanted to, I would be able to, like, well, not this turn. Well, if you summon something in, I should have had an ability sheet out here. My bad. If you summon something in, I'm hitting my desk every single second of the day. If you summon something in, it has something called Summoning Sickness, which means it has a tap ability, or if you want to attack with it, it cannot attack till the next turn. So then, in this case, you would say, pass turn, and then it would go around again, and then you would get to draw. Now you would be able to play another forest, and there's multiple things that you could do here. So obviously this is the hand now. Camera focused, okay. So you could tap 4, but you could tap 3. In this case, this is what I would do. I would tap 3 and bring out Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig. It is a legendary from the Throne of Eldraine set. And it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Well, since somebody here doesn't have that many, I don't think. Well, let me check. I have plenty of cards. Oh dear, things from the new set that have a bunch of stuff in you. Where are you? Okay, I just saw these. 1 second, everybody. Okay. Searching for things. Aha, there's one. Is that really the only one that I got? Wow, okay. So with the new sets comes these little things. They're double-sided and have counters on them. Each of these counters does something different, which I'll get into abilities in a different video. Maybe I'll do it in this one. But basically this would have 4 of these little things on it, or if you're like me and really don't want to grab out 4 of those from boxes, you can put a dice that has a 4 on it. So there it's a 4/4. And it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it whenever another green creature, so anything that's a creature and is green in mana cost, enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. Then if that creature's power, not toughness, power, is greater than Yorvo's power, good lord, put another +1/+1 counter on Yorvo. So then you would either attack with this for 3, or you would pass turn. In this case, I would pass turn. Then it goes back around. You can draw. After spending mana, on your next turn, untap. And when you get a lot of land, simply keep track of how many you have and slide them together. That way it's a lot neater. However, for the purposes of this, I'm going to leave it somewhat unslid, so that way you can all see how many I have. Now, something that you can do, and this is why certain cards are in this deck. Every deck that you make should have a purpose behind it for your legendary. In my case, it's basically making this thing as powerful as possible. So I would in this case, use Paragon of Eternal Wilds, because Yorvo would trigger, and it would get +1/+1. And then Paragon, other green creatures you control, get +1/+1. So then it would be up to 6. And if you pay 1 and tap this, another target green creature you control gains trample until end of turn. So in this case, I would pay, well, no, I wouldn't, because that's a tap ability. In this case, you would then, if you wanted to, attack with your commander. Now, attacking in a commander deck can get kind of confusing, because basically your commander can do both regular damage and commander damage. Commander damage means that from your commander alone is the only thing that can do it. When you attack with your commander, it taps. And basically what this means is that you have 2 different life counters. One is basically this 40 life that I was talking about, but commander damage is another life counter. It actually has 21. And however much power this has, if it's not blocked, it would deal that much commander damage. And that commander damage ticks down. If you get your commander damage down to 0, you lose. So what I would do here is I would attack someone with this, and then I would pass turn. Now, depending on what they block with, in this case I'll use the commander of one of my other decks, my main deck, and I'll block it. Now both are 6/6s. In this case, both would die. What this means is that your commander goes back, the other person's commander, in this case Aluna, would go back, and then basically you would just be forced to pass turn unless you could do something else. However, in our case of the cards in our hand, we can't, so we would pass turn. Now when your commander dies, as I said earlier, it costs 2 more of any color. So then you would pass turn, come back to you, draw, you would get another card, and just for the sake of this, I'll tap all 5 of these lands to play this card. Now, this card has the Adamant ability, like our original little Hengewalker over here, where if at least 3 green mana was spent to cast this spell, Garenbrig Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. And Garenbrig Paladin can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So basically, if your creature has 2 power, it can't block this card. If it has 2 power, if it has 1 power, if it has 0 power, it cannot block this card. So only things that are 3 or above can block it. So in which case you would then pass turn, it would come back, you would untap your lands, and you would draw. And then this basically goes on until your health goes down to 0. However, now I'm going to show you guys a little something else, and this is what attacking is like in this game. So I'm just stacking up cards here, and once again, this is basically when you get attacked. So once again, I'm going to call on another card here. These are all out of play, and when a card, I'll show you guys all of this here. So, once again, I'm going to call on this card, Illuna, Apex of Wishes. So right now, this is somebody else's card. They're going to attack me for it. So let's just ignore the commander damage and everything. Pretend it's a standard deck where you only have 20 life. I shouldn't use this card. Let me find another card out of this deck. That's not flying. I'm trying to find a card that doesn't have anything too special with it. Just like a generic card. Yeah, this one will work. Basically, this is another green card. I don't use it in this deck because I don't like it. Well, I do like it, just not for this deck. This card can't be blocked by more than one creature. Normally when you can block, you can choose what blocks what. However, this can only be blocked by one creature. So if somebody is to attack with this, you can either block with this 3/3 and both will die, and you don't tap when you block. It stays untapped. Or you can block with a 2/2, which only your 2/2 would die. Or you can block with this 5/5. Now, in this case, depending on if they had something else that was also attacking you, not that. Say if this other creature was here and it was attacking you. In this case, I would use the 5/5 to block Bristling Boar, in which case this would die. And then the 2/2, just for the sake of teaching you something, I'm going to block with the 2/2. Now, all three creatures would die. When a creature dies, if our deck is right here, right behind it is the graveyard. These are where cards go when they are used up or if a creature dies. Now you may be saying, Matt, what do you mean by a card gets used up? There's also cards called sorceries. Sorceries are different from another type of card. Instant. So sorceries, an instant, if you were to play sorcery and then somebody would play an instant against it, that instant would go off first, because the sorcery takes longer. Now, I've never fully understood that, but it is. So just bear with me here, guys. So basically, I'm not going to go over what these do. I'm just talking about it this way. So if you use a sorcery and you use an instant, both of those would go to your graveyard. There's one other type of card I need to talk about. And I would assume that I have one of these in here. Okay, there's a couple different card types I have to talk about. Those. No, not you, not you. Not you, not you. I know I've got them in here. Okay, so what I have here is an enchantment, 2 enchantments, and an artifact. Artifacts count as permanents. There are certain cards, however, such as I probably should have prepped for this episode, but in all reality, I just wanted to get it out. There's more cards that I have to talk about, yeah. Let's see. Okay. So what I have here is 5 cards. All 5 of these cards are different. What you have here is an enchantment, an artifact, a creature with a specific ability, a artifact equipment, and a enchantment aura. All of these have different things. So what you have is you have a Rosethorn Halberd. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target non-human creature you control. So in this case, when you're looking at creatures and you look at human versus non-human. So if I wanted to attach this to anything, I could attach it to this creature, this creature, this creature, but not this one, because it's human. And that creature would get +2/+1. Now, you put this out for 1, but you have to pay another 5 to actually equip it. And then what you have up here is an artifact. It's called Heraldic, Heraldic. Anybody wants to tell me how to pronounce that, that would be awesome. Heraldic banner, enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0. +1/+0 is it gets +1 to its attack stat, but nothing happens to its defense stat, which is its power toughness. And when you tap this, you get to add 1 mana of the chosen color. What Verdant Haven is a land enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Now up to a certain point, I don't know what the point is that you can gain life from playing cards that say that you gain life. And whenever, thank you emails, whenever Enchanted Land is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of any color to his or her mana pool. And that's in addition to the mana the land generally produces. So if I took one of these forests and I enchanted it with this, and I tapped it, I would get 2 mana instead of 1. Now, enchantments and artifacts can be destroyed. That's the whole thing with them. So basically, one of the things is that this card, Caustic Caterpillar, great card. Always use it if you have the chance to use a green deck. When you sacrifice it, you get to destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Now, any enchantment or artifact will do. Just try not to destroy your own unless otherwise needed. But basically, that's a lot of what Magic is, and when you destroy it, it goes there. That's basically all that this game is. Have fun. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.